We are live. Hello, good evening, and welcome to this webinar. I'm so happy to have you. I want everyone to comment. Just let me know your name and where you are watching me from. It is very important that I know your name and where you are watching me from. Also, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear while I send reminders to everyone in our community. Awesome. You can hear me loud and clear. That's fantastic. So let me know your name and where you are joining me from. Your name and where you are joining me from. Ewa Grace watching me from Lagos. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Grace, for joining. I'm so happy to have you. Thank you so much. So let me know your name and where you are joining me from. Let me know where your name and where you're joining me from. I would like us to always meet ourselves anytime we come to this kind of webinar. So we have John Essien from Abuja. Thank you so much, John, for joining us. Fantastic. Thank you so much, John. John Essien from Abuja. So we have others who are watching live. Just let me know your name and where you are watching me from, your name, where you are watching me from, so that I can meet you. Next time, if I hear the name Grace Ewa, I know that she's a part of my community. Uh, John Umo Uwomarogbege Eloho from Benin. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Um, John Eloho from Benin. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Uh, thank you for joining us. Rhoda from Rivers. Rhoda Henry from Rivers. Thank you so much, Rhoda. And Dorothy from Kaduna. Fantastic. Wow. Dorothy from Kaduna, thank you for joining me. I'm so happy to have you. We have more people. We have more people. We'll take two more before we start up. Two more. Just introduce yourself. Let me know where you are joining me from. Your name and where you are joining me from. Yeah, we have Reverend Mrs. Eshet joining from the UK. Thank you so much, Mama. Thank you for joining us. We're so happy to have you. We're happy to have you. This is one big family, and we are here basically to help ourselves manage stress. Then we have Enough Patience from Benin. Wow, Enough Patience, one of my founding members. She's been with us for over 6, 7 years now. I'm happy to have you and to know that you are still here with us. Nelly Ogale from Abuja. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Tehila from Abuja. Tehila is also one of our founding members. She's been with us for over 7 years now. Over 7 years now. I've known her since 2015, and she's been following me since then. I'm so happy to have you. You can see I still remember all my community members from the beginning when we started in 2017. Some of them are still here and they're still following me. That's to show and to tell you that there is something that they are benefiting from this community. That is why they've been here for so long and they've participated in almost everything that we've been doing right from 2017. So today we'll be looking at a very serious topic. I call it serious because a lot of people don't know they are depressed. A lot of people are going through severe clinical depression, yet they are not aware. So we're going to be looking at how to manage depression. I was on a call with somebody in a friend of mine in Nigeria a few days ago, and he kept saying, "Doctor, we are traumatized. Doctor, we are traumatized." And I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say because it was coming from the heart of pain. It was coming from the heart of pain. And by the time he started sharing some of the things that he was going through, I knew where he was coming from. I knew why he said, "Doctor, we are traumatized." So the system, the environment where you are is traumatizing you. And the way some people respond to this trauma is by going into depression. Especially people who are on the quiet side. They slip into depression. And it's unfortunate that many people don't know what depression is. Some people think that because they are sad, that means they are depressed. No. I'm going to show you the difference between sadness and depression. They are two different things. So, but before I go into the details of what I'm going to teach this evening, I want to introduce myself. If you are here for the first time or you're going to be hearing me for the first time, my name is Dr. Emmanuel Akpe. I'm a stress management consultant, also a UK certified stress consultant. I'm a member and an executive of Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development here in the UK. I also run my business called TSM Wellness, based here in the UK. And by God's grace, we've been championing championing issues around mental health and stress management here in the UK. Just this week that we're entering, I'm looking at signing a contract with an organization to facilitate stress management for them. And we're already in concluding part of that particular talk. So it's just for me to make a few corrections in my proposal, and we'll definitely go on with that. Now, that's to tell you that when it comes to stress management, mental health, I am an authority. Let me put it that way. I am an authority. So I'm not just someone who is just talking about stress management just so that I can feed. No, I have grown to the level where stress management is now a core part of me. And when I talk about it, people listen. I enter rooms, I enter different offices, and when I speak, people are quiet because what I'm talking about is something that they didn't even know they had problems with. And I also want to share that in July, we'll be starting the third batch of the Basic Stress Management Certificate course. I decided to create a course where I teach in details issues around stress, stress management, anger management, and how to manage different aspects of your life, including financial stress. And some of our past participants in the basic stress management certificate course are now grounded when it comes to stress management. In fact, one of them sent me a message to say that she had a very bad day, but because she understood what stress was, it was easy for her to go through that day without even feeling stressed. So it is possible for you to go through stress without feeling stressed, and that is where we come in. And the good thing about this is that after the course, you'll be given a certificate that is recognized by the UK government. In fact, this certificate, you can submit it in the office and you will be promoted if it's same line of work, if it's something that you need in your line of work. And you can go ahead to become a stress management consultant or apply it in business. So if you're a business professional, you are a coach, mental health coach, or any other field, and you want to specialize in stress management, the basic stress management certificate course is something that you need to look into. I'm going to talk a little more about it maybe at the end of this webinar. But for now, I want us to go into details of what we have. So, what exactly is depression? Because a lot of people think that depression is feeling sad, but that is not it. So depression is basically when you are going through a problem or a situation, and it begins to affect your mind to the point where you feel sad persistently, makes you always sad, and it affects your day-to-day activities. That is basically depression. So there's a big difference between just feeling sad and feeling depressed. When you feel sad, you are exhibiting a normal psychological response to what is happening around you. Let's say, for instance, something happens and somebody offends you, or somebody does something to you that pains you so much. You will feel sad. But after some time, you are meant to come out of that sadness and become happy again. But it goes on to become depressive or depression if you are persistently in sadness and you are hopeless about the situation. That is why we say the person is depressed. So next time you are going to say, I am depressed, make sure you are persistently sad. Make sure at every point in time you are in a state where you feel hopeless about what is happening around you. So that's basically sadness. That's basically depression, I mean. So when you are depressed, your energy level goes low. We have people like that they are never motivated to do anything. Their energy level is always low. In fact, when they come in contact with you, they pull your energy level. Meanwhile, there are some people whose energy level is very high. And anywhere they go to, they exhibit that enthusiasm, they exhibit that eagerness to make people happy. So such people, they are dispensing joy, not dispensing sadness or stress. But there is something I discovered recently. There was somebody who actually took her own life. And this person was joyful, always happy, always talking to people, always making others happy. And people didn't know that inside she was going through a lot of stress and was making her depressed. It was after she took her own life and people read her suicide note that they knew that she was even going through anything. So there are people like that they might be going through a lot, yet they are not expressing it. They are going through a lot, yet they are happy. But the problem is, the happiness is not because they are relieving stress. The happiness is because they want to cover up what is really happening inside. So it's more like it's a facade. It's more like a covering, an appearance. So they keep up an appearance that people will look at them and say, this is a very nice person, always happy. But you don't know what that person is going through. So sometimes it's when something drastic happens that we even know that there was anything happening with that person. That is why it's always good for you to express yourself. If you're not happy, say it out. If you are sad for any reason or you are stressed out, say it out. When people see that the way you are looking, they can easily chat you up. But when you start covering things up, you are going through marital stress, you're having issues with your husband or your wife, and you're trying to cover up. People go outside, you're happy, people look at you and say, oh, what a wonderful couple. You are just deceiving yourselves. There is no real solution. Real solution comes when you express what you're actually going through and people are out there to help you. So I'm going to share a few signs that you can see and feel, and you tell yourself that I think I am depressed. So the next time you want to say I am depressed, watch out for these signs. Number one, persistent sadness. Always sad. There are some people that they are never happy. They are never happy. There is no time that you will see them and say, you are happy today. What's happening? They are always sad. And because they are always sad, things don't really go well around them. They are always complaining because things are not really working the way it should work. As I explained to you in the last webinar last week, I said that when you have a negative energy around you, you attract negativity. But when you have a positive energy around you, you attract good things of life. That is why people who are always looking for a way to harm others always have bad news and things happening to them. They always have negative things happening to them because they are looking for ways to harm others. And as I used to say during my classes, it takes so much energy for you to be wicked. It takes so much energy for you to exhibit tendencies of wickedness. It takes so much energy from you also for you to be sad every time. Sadness is never good. And you know the funny thing? Sadness is a choice. I can decide not to be sad no matter what is happening to me. Somebody will offend me and I decide to overlook it. I will not be sad. Somebody insults me and I decide to overlook it. I will not be sad. Why am I not sad? Because I chose not to be sad. So if you are always sad, people are always offending you, look inwards. Look inwards. Something is wrong with you. I'm not saying this to say that maybe they are right for offending you. No. What I'm saying is that you have the right to respond in a positive way or a negative way. The choice is yours. So things happening around me, the economic situation of the country is very bad. I went to the market and everything has gone up. I tried to buy fish. The fish that I used to buy 500 a few years ago, now is about 4,000 for one fish. I have the right to be angry and sad. But I also have the right to say, this particular situation will not make me sad, no matter what. So you have the right. Another sign that you are depressed is if you lose interest in activities that you really love. For instance, I love wrestling. In fact, because of me, my son has started watching wrestling. And I know a few of my comrades too who are addicted to wrestling. So I follow. I'm not addicted to it, but I follow it every time. People say it's scripted, it's not scripted. That's not my business. I just enjoy the show. So if for any reason I begin to lose interest in wrestling, then there is a problem. Things that used to excite me before, I go through them and I am not excited. There is a problem. The World Cup is starting this week. There are some people that love football that will be invested in watching the World Cup. But because they are depressed, they lose interest in it. So once you lose interest in something you loved before, please watch it. Something is wrong. Another sign is when you don't pay attention to your physical appearance. Sometimes you look haggard and you don't really care. Your hair is unkempt, you don't really care. As a woman, you used to be interested in making your hair every time, but this time around, you don't care about your hair, whether it's made or not. That could be a sign of depression. Another sign is tiredness and low energy. Tiredness and low energy. If you sleep well at night, but you wake up tired in the morning, something must be wrong. Do you know why something that is happening in your mind is affecting the body? Because depression happens in the mind, right? So why am I tired? Do you know the reason? There is a very strong connection between the mind and your body. There is a very strong connection between the mind and your body. I'm repeating it for emphasis. A very powerful connection. So much so that the mind can actually control the body. In fact, the body is the slave of the mind. I said this last week, that the body is the slave of the mind. I remember one time that when I was working in a hospital, before I stopped hospital practice, I was working in a hospital and somebody came in with gunshots. They shot his stomach and some of his intestine came out. I'm sorry, I'm explaining a gory situation. So some of the intestine came out. He literally held the intestine with his hand. But this guy was saying something. He said, I will not die. This cannot kill me. I will not die. And he kept repeating it. He kept repeating it. At some point, he lost consciousness and they took him into the theater. They operated him, brought him out. He was still unconscious. After some days, he regained consciousness and he came back to life. Today, he's going about his daily activity. What happened? Despite the fact that he faced a life-threatening situation, he believed that nothing will happen to his body. Nothing, that his belief was sufficient to sustain his body to the point where even the gunshot could not kill him. But there was this person that also came in. It was just small keke that brushed his leg. The keke just hit him, but nothing was broken, no physical injury. So they brought him, he was on the floor, they picked him from the road and brought him to the hospital. Do you know what this guy was shouting? I don't die, yo. I don't die, yo. Keke don't kill me, yo. And they took him in, checked everything, and because of the way he was shouting, they decided to admit him. The situation deteriorated to the point where he lost consciousness. It was a matter of a few days, this guy was gone. Do you know why he died? He died in his mind before his body died. He has died in his mind before the body died. So whatever you are going through, if it doesn't affect your mind, you will not experience it. Any situation that you are experiencing currently, you have seen it in your mind. Some of us have seen the way Nigeria is now in our mind before it started materializing. I remember when Buhari won election, somebody who worked with Buhari when he was still the military head of state. I remember that time my office was in Asokoro. I just started off business that time. So the lady came to us and said, Nigeria has entered serious problem. We're like, what is the problem? He said, my uncle knows Buhari, worked with him. Then when my uncle, because the man is old now, when my uncle heard that Buhari won election, my uncle was crying. So that experience started affecting me. There's no matter what was happening in the country, I just had it at the back of my mind that this government is not good. That was when Buhari came in. And when we started seeing the way things were going, we knew that the country would get to this point. Because it's not magic. It's not magic. If the right people are not in government, the government will suffer. If the right people are not in government, the government and the people will suffer. That's exactly what's happening. Something happened in the UK a few months ago, but everybody knew about it just last week. Somebody was stabbed. A small boy was unalived. Somebody used a knife on him, and he was bleeding. He was on the floor. They called the police. The police came, and instead of the police to arrest the person that hit hit him with a knife. I'm careful of my words so that YouTube will not kick us off. Instead of arresting the person that hit him with a knife, they went to arrest the person that was bleeding on the floor. And the guy was telling them, I have been stabbed, I am bleeding, please help me. Police said, no, we can't see any injury. They accused him of racially abusing the guy that stabbed him. And you know, a matter of a few minutes, the guy died. And the whole UK was on fire, let me put it that way. Everybody was boiling. The two police officers were sacked. The prime minister came to give a speech. Even US vice president came to give a speech. People were talking. It was debated on the parliament. Just one singular event. But in our country, almost a whole class of students will be adopted and kidnapped, taken to the bush. For 22 days now, the president has not said anything about it. The senators have not said anything about it. The country is calm. Everywhere is quiet. You see what I'm talking about? One country has good leadership. And because of that, people hold leaders to account, and they are forced to come out to explain things to them. Meanwhile, where we're coming from, people don't hold leadership to account. Even when they do, the leaders don't care. They do whatever is in their mind. And that is actually the problem. If your network is bad, the video will always be on YouTube, so you can always go back. Somebody said the network is bad. The video will always be on YouTube, so you can always go back to watch it when you have a better network. So like as I was saying, if you are living in that kind of environment where the leaders don't really care, it is very easy for you to go into depression. Very easy. So that could lead to different other things. The final thing I'm going to say about the signs of depression is thoughts of self-harm. Thoughts of self-harm. Have you ever thought of harming yourself? Have you ever thought of maybe let the ground open and let me just swallow myself? That could be a sign of depression. I have thought of it before. Don't think I am immune to whatever is happening around. I'm not immune. I remember the first time I started talking about stress management, it was really difficult. I was going through a lot financially, all those. It was a really stressful time for me. And at some point, I just wanted to give up. And at some point, also, I thought of let the ground just open and let me just enter. Let the ground just swallow me. Let me cease to exist. But thank God, I persisted. And today, the story is different. Why do people actually want to harm themselves when they are depressed? Or why do people want to commit suicide when they are depressed? The issue is this: when people are depressed, their mind is carrying so much pressure and they are looking for a way to release the pressure. So, the easiest way they feel they can release the pressure is to escape from the pressure. For many people, suicide is a way of escape. Grace says, I have, yes. So there's hardly anybody who hasn't thought of self-harm or suicide. There's hardly anybody, but let it remain as thought. Let it not become action. So suicide basically is a way people escape from what is happening around them. Some people cannot face the shame of certain things happening. Let's say they took a loan and the business didn't work out. Now the loan companies are calling. The shame. Sometimes some people cannot face that shame and they prefer to escape. So they see harming themselves as a way to escape that particular situation. There's somebody that made a statement one day. I think it was Samuel L. Jackson or Morgan Freeman, one of the movie actors. He said the fear of shame is stronger than the fear of death. And when he said that, it has never left me. The fear of shame is stronger than the fear of death. I have heard stories about people taking their life because they were too ashamed to face a situation. Like a pastor committing adultery or fornication and somebody getting pregnant. Some of them take their life. So they are too ashamed to face the situation. They rather look for a way to escape out of the situation. But the truth is this: that thing you are thinking is something you cannot, that you think is something you cannot face. Just be patient and wait. After about 2-3 years, you will be too ashamed to admit that you wanted to take your life because of that stuff. Something as simple as that. I remember about 5 years ago, somebody introduced me to two ladies. Two of them wanted to take their own life. One of them has attempted taking her own life 3 times and has failed. Took sniper 3 times and somehow people took her to the hospital and she survived. So it was at that point that I met her. So when we started talking during her session, she started talking how she has faced a lot of challenges and stuff like that. I just told her something that changed her mind. I said, if you can be patient, in 3 years' time, I'm going to ask you whether you still want to commit suicide. And truly, I waited after telling her what to do. After 3 years, I called her and said, how are you doing? Do you still want to take your own life? And she said, no. I don't even know what happened to me. I don't know why I was even thinking of taking my own life. Today, she's so blessed with her kids. Everybody's well. Everyone around her happy. She's a source of joy to people. That was somebody that wanted to take her life. What if she took her life at that time? What would have happened? She would have been long gone. So whatever you think is a problem today, in the next few days will not be a problem, honestly. In the next few years will not even be a problem. After like 5-10 years, you'll be asking yourself, why did I really want to take my life? because of something as small as this. That is how powerful it is. So, depression is so strong that it can affect every aspect of your life. By the end of this class, I'm going to give you practical steps to manage depression. So, stay with me. Depression can affect every single aspect of your life. Depression can reduce your productivity and your performance, even in the office, in the home, everywhere you go. There are some people that are not productive, not because they don't have physical strength, but because they are mentally exhausted and they are depressed. The issue is this: when you are depressed, you lack the energy to actually function. Have you noticed that there are some times you are not happy with yourself? For whatever reason, you are just sad for the whole day. You feel lazy to do some things, even to cook, basic things that you enjoy doing. You just feel lazy, you don't feel like doing those things. That's because you are depressed. Depression also affects your ability to make solid decisions. You discover that there are some times you make some decisions and people are asking you that, are you the one that actually did this? Because they expected better from you. And they are disappointed that you are operating at that level, that low level. That's because depression has impacted on your judgment. That's why I say this in my class and I say it everywhere I go, that when you are not mentally stable, please don't make any decision. When you are not mentally stable, when you are stressed out, when you are angry, when you are depressed or emotionally unstable, please don't make any decision. Some people have left their marriage because they were angry. Just 5 minutes of anger, they left their marriage. Some people have destroyed their relationships just because of 5 minutes of anger. So in that anger, they make a decision and their relationship ends. A man of God was telling a story about how water to wash hand, broke a marriage. Water to wash hand. The wife served food and the husband was like, please give me water, let me wash my hand. And the wife said, please go and wash your hand in the kitchen. I cannot give you water. I'm too tired. And the husband didn't take it lightly. That issue of bring water, don't bring water, degenerated into malice. And of course, the husband was the king of malice, just like Frankie Doho. And from malice to anger to sending her back to her family, just because of not washing hands. So some people make some terrible decisions just out of anger. It also creates communication problem when you are depressed. Your communication is affected. You are not able to relate with people very well. People don't even understand you. That's because you are depressed. It also affects your sleep. You discover that throughout the night, you just keep thinking about what you are going through, what is causing you depression, and you are unable to sleep. So those are the basic things that happen. Now, I'm going to go into solution, what you can do. So, but before I go into that, there are some practical ways to manage negative thoughts. There are some things you can do that will help you manage that negative thoughts. There are some people that are always thinking negatively. They are never positive. If you stay around them for 5 minutes, you'll be drained mentally. You'll be drained because it will be filled with complaints, different complaints. I have not eaten since yesterday. I've not done this since yesterday. So by the time they finish, you are mentally and physically drained. But I don't want it to be like that. I want your own case to be different. Because you're a member of this community, I don't want your case to be like that. So, what is the first thing you need to do? You need to challenge some bad thinking patterns. If you're always thinking about the worst that can happen, if you're always thinking about negative things, how you you injure somebody or harm somebody or how somebody offended you, or there's some people that if you greet them in a certain way, they will go back to think about it to say, it's like the way this person greeted me, I don't think this person greeted me very well. There are some people that are trouble themselves. Anywhere they go to, trouble follows them. If they come into an environment, police will start looking for them. I have seen people like that just move them from where they are. So there's this one of my clients. The brother was so troublesome, was disturbing the mom in the village. So she decided to bring him into the town so he can stay with her, so she can monitor him and make sure that he turns out well. Do you know, within 1 week of the boy coming to stay with her, police started knocking on her door. So there are some people like that. They attract trouble. Anywhere they are, trouble manifests. Anywhere they are, they cause issues. When you are that kind of person, then you watch out for what you think about, because everything starts from your thoughts. You must have thought about going to do something dangerous before police came knocking on your door. So whatever happens to you in any way, think about your thoughts. It must have started from your thoughts. Then reduce excessive worrying. I say something every time. Whether you worry or you don't worry, that problem, you must solve it. Whether you worry or you don't worry, that situation, you must pass through it. So how do you want to pass through the situation? Do you want to pass through it worrying, or do you want to pass through it joyful? No matter what is happening, always joyful. So there are two ways. I told you that you have a choice. Either to worry yourself to death, or to be happy and to go through the situation with joy. The difference is in what will happen in your body. So there are some times that your body will begin to you begin to feel sick just because you are worrying too much. There are some people, they're already developing gray hair because they worry too much. There are some people, they've developed high blood pressure because they worry too much. You are worried about your family, you are worried about your children, you are worried about your husband, you are worried about every single thing happening around you. You are worried that something bad will happen to you. There are some people like that when they are traveling, they think they will have accidents. That is a dangerous way to think. And that is what leads to depression. So how can you stop all this negative? Thoughts are like birds. A bird will fly over your head. That's how a thought is. So there's maybe a dangerous thought will just come into your mind. If you think on those thoughts, it's like allowing the bird to begin to build nests on your head. So as long as the bird build nests on your head, the thought has been manifesting. But if as the bird flies over your head, you don't allow it to perch. If it wants to perch, you just hit it out and it flies away. The thought will not dwell in your mind. So a negative thought becomes dangerous when you start dwelling in it and start thinking about it. Before you know it, it becomes a full-blown manifestation. Let me give you a typical example. Before a man goes to sleep with another man's wife, it's not accident. He must have been thinking about it. He must have slept with that woman in his mind. So going there physically to manifest that is just a manifestation of what has been going on internally. Because for anything to manifest in your life or in every any aspect of your body, it must have gone through your mind. It must have gone through your mind. Nothing happens by accident. Nothing happens by accident. I can tell you for a fact, nothing happens by accident. Everything that happens to you, or you, every action, let me put it that way, every action you take is a manifestation of something you have thought about. In fact, if you have not thought about it, it will not manifest. There are some crime people commit, and you are wondering, how did this person come about this crime? The person must have thought about it. But you are shocked because it has never crossed your mind. That's how it is. So you need to develop resilience. I mentioned this the last time we met. You need to develop resilience. You must be resilient. You must have a staying power. What I mean by staying power is you must persevere. Don't give up easily. So you're embarking on something, or something is happening around you, maybe in the office, you're having a bad day, your boss is querying you for whatever reason. Don't give up easily. Keep fighting. Keep fighting. Keep praying. Keep doing whatever you know you can do to get that result. Or you don't like the kind of situation you are in, keep working towards it until you get the desired result. I have some people in my community, and I've been helping them. I've been trying to get them to come up, especially financially and mentally too. Since I knew them, since they joined the community from the very first day, their financial state has not improved. Their financial state has not improved. And they have given up. They are giving up. So what they are doing now is they are on survival mode, just barely getting by from day to day, from week to week, year to year, without any plan to succeed in future. So more like eating their seed and eating their bread. That is a major problem, honestly. When we get to the basic stress management certificate course, I know I talked about financial stress, and I talked about investments, some things you can do to have a predictable future. But that is not what we're talking about today. So build emotional awareness. You should be able to say when you are feeling sad. You should be able to say when you are beginning to slip into depression, because you are emotionally aware of what is happening around you. Some people are not emotionally aware. So when they are sad, they don't know. When they are happy, they don't know. They don't even care. They just go about their life anyhow they want. But if you're emotionally aware, anytime you start feeling sad, you bring it to your consciousness that this is not what I want. And you change it immediately. Immediately you change from sadness to happiness. Your body system changes. Your body becomes more relaxed. The stress hormone that was increasing, everything goes down, and the body becomes calm. Your body is now responding to what is happening in your mind. That's why I told you that the connection between the mind and the body is so powerful that I can be thinking about something dangerous and my heart will start beating very fast. Why is my heart beating fast? I didn't touch my heart. I didn't go near it. But my thoughts sent signals to my heart and it started beating fast. Have you imagined that anytime you sit down to think about goodness, anytime you sit down, close your eyes, and you are seeing yourself in very fantastic places, you are seeing yourself in very good hotels like Marriott Hotel, you are seeing yourself in Sheraton, Transcorp, in a very massive room, relaxing with drinks, food, and all that. Have you noticed that you feel more relaxed? You are truly relaxed. But anytime you close your eyes and you see yourself in a war zone with terrorist shooting and all that, you become apprehensive and your heart start racing. Why? Because what you are seeing in your mind is translating to your body. If you can understand the connection between the mind and the body, you will understand life as it is. I know how to control my body from my mind because I don't allow certain thoughts. I don't allow certain thoughts. That's why the last time I checked my blood pressure, it was in 119 over 74. I'm 40 something years, so I'm not a small child. And my blood pressure is below 120, which is the normal range for an average person. It's below it. That's because I don't allow anything to get to me. Not to talk of getting to the point of depression. No, I cannot be depressed. I am too happy to be depressed. Even when nothing makes me happy, I create happiness myself. I create happiness. Because if you are living in a place like Nigeria and your happiness is not internally generated, you will always be depressed. Your happiness is not internally generated. Your happiness is based on what is happening externally. You will always be depressed because there's never good news. Maybe one sprinkle of good news with so many bad news everywhere. So, but if your happiness is internally generated, whether there is good news, there is bad news, there's no news, you are happy. Because what is making you happy is not from the environment. What is making you happy is from within you. That is stress management. Honestly, that is stress management. Another way to handle evil thoughts and negative thoughts is to have self-compassion. You are too hard on yourself. You are too hard on yourself. You feel guilty that you're not doing well. You feel guilty that you're not doing as much as you need to do. When you see people making millions and counting millions and billions, you enter into depression. Just because they are doing better than you. So sometimes you need to appreciate the little you are doing. I'm not doing much, but at least I'm impacting lives. I'm not doing much, but at least people are listening to me. And as you do that, it helps you focus more on where you are going to. Unlike when you are so hard on yourself, you never appreciate yourself. You are never happy with your achievements. Then you can go into depression. Somebody said this to me. I called someone to say we are relocating out of Nigeria, and I will be out for a while before coming back. And this person later called me to say that maybe I called to give him the news that he became sick. And I knew where it was coming from. The sickness was not because he was happy for me. The sickness was because he was depressed. That look at this guy that all of us started. He has left the country now, and I'm still here. Immediately you start feeling guilty and start punishing yourself, you enter into depression. Honestly, straight up, you enter into depression. So I'm going to give you a few things a few stress management strategies, a few things you can do to handle depression. And the first is that you must sleep well. You will be mentally exhausted if you don't sleep well. So make sure you don't joke with your sleep. Once I hit the bed, I am gone. Except I don't want to sleep. But once I close my eye, in fact, I remember one time I went to Kano to give to speak in the law school in Kano. they had a conference and they invited me to come and speak. So I lodged in the hotel with one of the executive members of the Nigeria Bar Association. So we lodged in a hotel, and the guy we're just talking. As I just entered the bed, the guy said he counted 1 to 10. By the time he got to 10, I was off. And he was like, "This guy, how are you sleeping like this?" So when I finished talking, it was like, everything this guy said is true. He's practicing it because I counted 1 to 10 and it was off. So some people don't sleep at night. Some people, when they wake up, if anything wakes them up at night, that is it. They don't sleep again until the next day. But if you can regulate your sleeping pattern, if you can sleep well, I want to give you one natural remedy for sleep. If you want to sleep well, go and look for whole flower chamomile, tea. Not the mixture of chamomile, not the ones that they combine chamomile with maybe any of those other things. They just mix them up. This one is 100% organic chamomile. I'm going to drop it in the comment. If you need it, you can ask for it in the comment. I'm going to drop it. So just take it. A glass will actually knock you off. I remember I gave it to somebody who doesn't sleep at all. And the person took a glass, slept at night. 10 o'clock, this lady has not woken. 11 o'clock, in fact, the family were so scared they had to start waking her up. She said she has never slept like that before. For the first time, she has a restful sleep. So that's just a bonus for people who are listening. There is a difference between restful sleep and stressful sleep. Have you ever slept before and you woke up stressed? You were supposed to rest, but you were stressed while sleeping. That's because you were sleeping, but your mind was still active. So during the basic stress management certificate course, we usually teach mindfulness and ability to get people's mind to be relaxed. We teach people how to shut down their mind while they are sleeping. And that's a very good thing to do. So mindfulness, relaxation techniques are things you can do when you are managing depression. And you can also seek support from friends, from family. When you are going through stuff, that is not when to keep quiet. That is when to tell people, guys, I'm going through this. Look at what I'm passing through. And somehow people give you suggestions, say one or two things, and before you know it, you are back to yourself. So I've had cases of people who were depressed, were going through stuff, but after a session, they became okay. They just said, I'm fine, because I changed their perspective. This thing is about perspective. You are looking at it this way, and you are instead of that, you are seeing you are seeing something different. So if you're able to change your perspective, and that is basically what I do, I help you to see life in a different way, and your stress disappears. So that's basically how it is. Let me see if there is more things you can do. Okay, so you can create a recovery plan for yourself. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Then take some questions and call it a day. You can create a plan for yourself. The first thing you need to do if you are depressed is to find out what is causing you depression. Every depressed person has something that is causing it. Nobody's depressed out of the blues. The person, you just say, I'm depressed, but I don't know what is causing my depression. No. Everybody who is depressed knows what is causing it. Everybody who is depressed can pinpoint something that is triggering it. Either a spouse, maybe your husband or your wife is always talking down on you, making you feel as if you are nothing. There are some people like that. There are some husbands like that. They have reduced their wife to nothing, so their wife feel they are actually nothing. You know, at that point, that particular person becomes a trigger for you. So identify what is triggering your depression. Then identify the early warning signs. There are some early warning signs. For example, when you want to enter depression, you discover that you start feeling sad, or you start having palpitation, or you just withdraw. There's some people, they just withdraw and become isolated. And that is a very dangerous place to be. Never be isolated. Because when the enemy wants to strike, he strikes the isolated one. As long as you are in a community, it will be difficult for anything evil to happen to you. But if you are in a community but you are isolated, anything can happen. I'm saying this because there are some members of our community that have lost their lives for something that there is solution in the community. And when I hear about their death, I'm asking, why didn't this person say it all this while? And this person has been communicating with us, but never mentioned they were going through what they were going through until they died. And then somebody else mentioned that this person has died from so and so stuff. So immediately you're isolated, even if you're in a community, you are already in trouble. That is why I appreciate people who drop questions in the community. Although we don't want to turn our community into a place where people practice traditional medicine, and what is the natural remedy for this, what is this for, we don't do that. I try as much as possible to limit whatever we're asking to something that is relevant to stress management. So if we're talking natural remedy, it's just a bonus, not for people to come to the group to look for solution to whatever illness they are going through. So if you want a specific solution, you can easily send a chat to me and I will respond. I've never ignored anybody. I've never. No matter how the question is, even if the question doesn't make sense, I try to give a response to it. So you must identify the trigger, you must recognize early warning signs, then develop healthy coping mechanism. One of your coping mechanisms could be that anytime you are about to feel sad, you change your mood, change your emotion, decide to make yourself happy, look for something that will make you happy. That will immediately change your atmosphere, honestly. Then build a support network. There are some people that if I'm going through anything, I call them, and by the time I finish talking to them, I'm okay. If you don't have such people around you, you're already in trouble. So it's either you have such network or you are paying for such network. People pay a lot of money to join communities because they don't want to be stranded in life. Honestly. Then set realistic goal. This is the last point I'm going to make. Set realistic goal. Don't say in the next 1 year, I'm going to be like Dangote. It will take the heaven and the earth to be moved for you to achieve that. But you can set realistic goal. It's different if it's God that wants you to be like that. That's a different ball game. God will actually make a way for you to get to that point. But if it is you that is setting a goal for yourself, please make sure that that goal is realistic. I remember when I started my business last year, and the business consultant that was paid by the UK government to supervise me actually asked me a question. Said, what is your goal for the year? And I said, I want to make £100,000 in a year. Do you know what £100,000 is? That's almost $1 billion in Naira. And this guy looked at me and was like, are you sure your goal is realistic? Because even if you are working every day and you're making money every day, you're not going to get £100,000 in a year. Except if the whole of UK now decide to patronize you. That's the only way you can achieve it. And truly, when I started the business and I saw that it was what I was saying was the truth, my goal was unrealistic. So if your goal is unrealistic, you will get unrealistic results and you will be depressed because of it. At the end of this teaching, I know you understand what depression is. I know you know the signs of depression. I know you know what causes depression. And I know you have a solution to handle depression. So I want us to ask questions. If you have any question, drop it in the comments. I will highlight all our questions and give answers to it. So in the next 5-10 minutes, if you have any question, put it in the chat and I will definitely respond to all the questions. I think somebody asked a question here. Please, how do one rest the mind while sleeping? That's a very good question. Although I've answered it in the basic stress management certificate course, but let me give you an overview of how to rest your mind. You know, when you want to go to sleep, the mind, your brain is still active. But you can make the brain to come to rest when you want to rest and you want to sleep well. How do you do that? By resolving and deleting every thought in your mind. What makes you not to have a restful sleep is because of the thoughts you have in your mind. Do you know that there are sometimes you are thinking about the event of the next day? It forms your dream. It becomes a part of your dream. You dream about it. That's because that activity has taken over your mind. Let me give you a typical example. The day I was to travel, relocate to the UK, that night I didn't sleep. Honestly, I didn't sleep. All my dream, all my thoughts was how my new environment was going to look like. And I know many of you will relate to what I'm saying now. All my thoughts was how my new environment was going to look like. So I didn't sleep that night. And there are some people that are living their life like that every day. Make sure you resolve whatever is causing you stress or any thought that is going through your mind. Make sure you resolve it. How do you resolve your thought? If, for example, if you're having any challenge or anything like that, just make sure you solve it. Or if you are thinking about anything, at the point you want to sleep, stop thinking. It takes some time to achieve that, but you know, if you practice it over a period of time, you discover that if you want to stop thinking, you stop thinking. You stop all the activities going on in the mind. Your mind becomes blank. So it has at the point where your mind becomes blank, that you can sleep peacefully like a baby and have peaceful dream. Some people have very stressful dream. In the dream, they are fighting everybody. And by the time they wake up, they are exhausted from the fighting going on in their dream. But you can get your mind to a point of peace that you sleep and you are truly resting. I hope I've been able to give you a snippet of how to rest your mind. Then somebody is also asking, okay, so this person is asking, please sir, how can I get the recorded form of this webinar? I have groups I would love to share this teaching with. Fantastic. All you need to do is just copy the link you use in joining, and send it to those groups. They will still have access to the YouTube video. So the video is permanently on YouTube and is open to the public, you know. So anybody that has access to the link will have access to watch the recording again. So that is it. You have any question, drop in the comments and I'm going to answer it. I'm here for you for today. Some of the things I'm teaching you are things that people pay me in pounds to teach, but I just feel I should give back to the society that helped me when I started talking about stress initially. That is why I'm giving out these things for free. But these teachings are paid. People pay a lot of money to hear me speak. And it is something of joy when I see people getting value for what I'm teaching. It gives me this kind of joy. So that also brings me to the course that is starting in July. Some people have started paying for to register for the course, and is 25,000 naira, and 25,000 naira for 2 weeks, 14 days. We will teach you every day about stress, different aspect of stress, and we'll give you guidelines, we'll give you documents, we'll give you things that you can use even after the class. We've done the first batch, we've done the second batch, this is the third batch. I remember in the first batch we did, about 3 people were asked to come and give a presentation in church. And guess what? They talked about stress management and everywhere scattered. People were coming to me, how did you get information about stress? How did you get this kind of information? Because some of the information I'm giving you on stress management is not in any book. In fact, somebody used my book. I have a book on Amazon called The Stress Manager's Guide. The Stress Manager's Guide. If you go on Amazon, you see it. Somebody took my book and used it to write her thesis, her dissertation for MSc. And her supervisor called her to say, where did you get materials for this dissertation? And she brought out my book and showed it to the supervisor. Guess what? She had an A. And she's the second person that is telling me that they used my book to write MSc dissertation and they had an A. Because the content of the things I teach are not things you get from Google, or they're not things you get from everyday books. I've read books about stress, and what I teach is totally different from what they are saying. So if you are a professional, a business person, and you want to take your stress level, stress management knowledge to another level, then the basic stress management certificate course is the best for you. It will change your life. It will change everything about you. And you are going to get a certificate that will enable you to go for trainings, train people on stress management, and you have enough material to train them. So if you want to register, send me a message or reach out to this number. I'm going to put a number on the screen. So I'll put a number on the screen so you can chat up that number. And so that's the number, I think. Sorry, this is the number. So that's the number that's scrolling on your screen now. Or you can drop me a message. I'll also drop me a message. This is our WhatsApp number. That's what is scrolling on the screen. So you can drop us a message and we'll reach out to you on how you can register. Then somebody said, can we take the chamomile tea daily till sleep is realistic? If you are taking the original chamomile tea, by the time you take it for the first day and the second day, I can assure you that it will knock you off. So the original chamomile tea is, let me put it in the chat. Hopefully you see it. Whole flower chamomile tea. So that's it. Whole flower chamomile tea. If you go to any supermarket, you ask of whole flower chamomile tea. It is very difficult to find, but make sure you find it. All the other ones are adulterated. Some of them are not really chamomile. Some of them they blend other things and add it to chamomile, but it's not really chamomile 100%. But this one is the flower. So it's a flower in a bag. You dip the flower inside the hot water, sorry. Inside the hot water, it will extract the tea. When you drink it, it will knock you off. It's not so dangerous. You know the way I'm saying it, it looks dangerous, but it's not so dangerous. It helps you sleep very well. So that's it. This person says, Doctor, my mind is usually not at rest for me to sleep, especially when I get a bad news like death of someone, and when someone really offends me so much that it makes me sad. I find it difficult to sleep. Okay, like I said, if you listen to my the introductory part of this class, I said sadness is normal. Sadness is normal. For instance, if you lose someone, you're going to be sad. And there is no amount of stress management that can prevent that sadness. No. It is a natural cause. It will take its natural course. But the problem begin to occur if it is prolonged for a long period of time. Let's say you lost someone dear to you, God forbid, and you are sad. After 2 months, you are sad. 3 months, you are sad. 1 year, you are still sad. 2 years, you are still sad. Something is wrong. That is no longer mourning. That is depression. Or if somebody offends you, of course, offense can be painful, especially if the person is somebody you love so much. First day, okay. Second day, okay. But by the time it's entering 1 week, 2 weeks, and you are still offended, and you are still not able to sleep, something is wrong. So the fact that I'm teaching you how to manage stress and how to manage your emotion doesn't mean I'm saying you should not express your emotion. You are free to express your emotion, but be careful while expressing the emotion. Be careful. Let it not extend to the point where it becomes a problem for you. That is exactly what I'm trying to say. I hope we got that. So I want you to share this video, this YouTube link to as many people as possible. There are many people that need to listen to these things. There are many people that are suffering, people that are going through a lot. So even if you don't know what they are going through, put it on your status, share to different groups and say, listen to this particular training. You're going to gain a lot from it. And I can assure you that there are some people who are in our community, somebody shared videos like this to them and they were drawn to the community. People need to heal. People need to recover from the trauma that is going on. People need to recover. There's something that I want to handle next week, and that is this. People are kidnapped. People are made to go through horror. Somebody was sharing an experience of what he went through after he was kidnapped. All the horror, all the torture and the things that he went through. Guess what? Immediately he was released, they took him to the hospital. The doctors checked him up and said he was okay, no injury, nothing, and they discharged him. But mentally, nobody checked him out. Mentally, nobody understood what he was going through. He said he was mentally broken. He was mentally broken to the point that he was feeling anger towards the society. So if somebody who is an adult has this kind of experience, imagine what will happen to children going through these experiences. They've been in the bush for weeks. Imagine the anger that is building up in those children. Imagine what those children will turn out to be in the next 15, 20 years. Imagine the anger that they are going to unleash on the society because they are traumatized. Because they are traumatized. Some of them are already experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder. So it means that anytime they are close to a forest, they become traumatized. They begin to remember all their experiences. Some of them, when they smell when they perceive the smell of earth, of sand, they become traumatized because they were made to lie on the ground. So every smell, everything they experience, once they see it again, they are traumatized. So what I'm going to share with you next week is how to manage post-traumatic stress disorder. So if you know anyone who has been kidnapped before, if you know anyone who is going through kidnap, either directly or indirectly, somebody whose family, somebody was kidnapped and they were meant to run etasketa to raise money, or somebody was directly involved, please share the invite link to them. Let them come and listen to what I have to say next Sunday. So I'm going to break down post-traumatic stress disorder and what people can do when they are released from kidnap bandits or stuff are released. They release them. What steps they can take, because truly government is supposed to do these things for us, but the government really is not doing what they are supposed to do. So we're going to show you some solutions, what you can do that can help you heal and come back to being a human again, and not being someone who has lost his humanity. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. In the absence of any question, please, I will see you next Sunday. Join our community. If you are not in our WhatsApp group, please send me a message on YouTube so I can send you a link to join the WhatsApp group, and share the link with your friends. Share the link everywhere. Let people hear this, because what we're doing is creating national healing. But we are starting with you guys. You are the pioneer. You are the ones that will share this to people who need it. And before you know it, it becomes a national movement. Then when we are live, we are getting 20,000 people, are getting 30,000 people watching to learn and to heal, because people are truly traumatized. So thank you very much, and God bless you. See you next Sunday. Bye.